Call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock.
Never trust the tail dragger very far. You keep it away all the
April
time.
16th, 25. Minutes, any modifications or errors?
None that I saw.
I didn't see anything either. I'll make a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Rich?
Got some WD-40 for the T-hangers and T-hanger doors. Our annual fire extinguisher stuff. Okay, so I got 3 RTL invoices here. This, I don't know why it took them so long to get them to me, but it was. This is the airport house dishwasher electrical stuff that they did for me. This is the T-hanger door repair that they had to do for electrical. And then this is getting covered under the lightning claim, but it's the west gate work that RTL had done. This is an invoice from Todd Menow for the LED upgrade and then in here, and then also that light that fell down by the FBO, he had to rehang. This is the airport seminar that you attended through Wisconsin Airport Managers Association. And then our annual Merrill Photo News Business Directory.
Do you do WD-40 by the gallon? Good.
No, because we don't use very much of it.
Oh, I thought you used it like crazy on the T-hanger
We do
doors.
it twice a year.
Okay.
Spring and fall.
The cables?
Yep.
Move the cables?
Yeah. And then police vehicles.
Okay.
But nothing real major, Lyle. It's all small bills, you know, $99. The one bill that was big was Nino Electric was $445.
No, Miss Needle.
And then there was an $800 for RTL, okay?
Yeah, he did some electrical work on a T-hanger door.
Yeah, the one that Bev Cornelius is in, number 5?
Number 5, yeah. 5 or 1.
That's
5,
3,
1,
yeah.
1.
Yeah, no,
Five.
we're 3, yeah, she's 5.
That's twice they've had to come out and replace the contactor in there. It seems like it's always due to humidity. I've looped the electrical cables down and sealed it, but for whatever reason, that one's always prone to getting wet and the contactor goes to pots.
Yeah.
Does the floor sweat in that hanger more than the others?
She's always opening it to get air in there, but yeah, it does get.
No, that's just open it's hot. Over there that it's on top of, with moisture coming up through.
Could be.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minute, or approve the vouchers.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion and second to approve vouchers. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Total 1634. So I just got back from Madison about a half hour ago. I was down there all day. And I had good news and bad news. We'll start with the bad news. So the bad news is 1634 runway. If you remember, we've talked about eligibility, justification, operations, wind analysis, and passed all that. Okay. Every time FAA came up with something, we countered it and proved they were wrong. Okay. So then, the way the wind analysis and the operations got taken away from was when we did some work with legislatures and got some language put in the Reauthorization Act that took the wind out of their sails. So what are they going to do now? And I've been wondering what they're going to do now. Well, I found out today. So you know, we've talked about the master plan before and how it's held up. So I found out today, I wrote a letter to them and I said, you know, you guys have had the forecast from our master plan. It was approved by BOA, sent to FAA. You guys have had them for at least 6 months. It's about 2 months ago I sent that. What's the whole letter? Sent a letter to Jerry Wilson. He never responded. Today I found out they've been at the FAA for 14 months, our forecast, and they're still sitting on the damn things. So it turns out that there's another piece in the Authorization Act that specifically says that ALPs have to be approved by the FAA within 45 days, so their approval is considered to be favorable. So, my opinion, the FAA now is trying to use other things to stop these crosswind runways from being built. So, forecast is what we had in our master plan. They were approved by DOA, went to FAA. FAA is sitting on them. We can't do an ALP until we get forecast approved by the aviation administration. And ALP, FAA has just notified airports through a letter they put out, I'll send it to you. Nothing that they have control over the ALP. We're a block grant state. FAA shouldn't be filling almost nothing that Wisconsin does, because we're a block grant state. But FAA is going to control, in my opinion, this is their new black box for airports to get stuck in. So if they don't approve the ALP, you can't do it. So that's where we're at today. They have us looking at 2030 as of today to replace the crosswind runway. 2030. So it's very frustrating. So I'm going to start rattling cages again. Some legislators and whatever I feel like we need to do to try and fix some of this stuff. We had this meeting I was in today was for the Merrill report. There was 15 members of DOA there in this meeting, and Carl and I. There were 7 people from FAA on the monitor, zoomed in, and to listen to all this stuff. And this Malika is relatively new to ADO down there, and she got all agitated about the amount of time that they've had the forecast that they haven't approved. Yeah, they're at the top of the list, top of the list, top of the list. Well, she's been telling people that for months. It's at our airport is at the top of the list. So there's clearly some blocking going on, and it's not just Merrill. So in the Reauthorization Act, it requires the ALP to be approved within 45 days of receipt. You can't submit your ALP until your forecasts are approved. So they still have us. The only way I see out is to try to get legislative help.
Yeah.
That's where that's at.
And it's back to that.
Now, the other thing I should tell you, they now have decided that to go along with the first 3 items that are on there, 4 items, to go along with those because that's been taken away from them. They now call existing cross-wind runways, if they were built with AIP funding, they now refer to them as legacy crosswind runways. It's not a regular crosswind runway, it's a legacy crosswind runway. And legacy crosswind runways can be approved for rebuild if the ALP is approved. If the most recent current ALP is approved. They sit around and figure out how to do this stuff. So anyway, that's what the crosswind is at. All I can tell you is we'll be working on it. Any questions on that? I hope I didn't confuse you guys. Hangar says, better news. We're going to get, one of the problems that Wisconsin has right now is, as you know, BOA hasn't been very active, and they haven't been doing projects, haven't been administering projects so they could be done, and a lot of airports have entitlement money built up. So as you know, you can hold 4 years of entitlement money. The next year, the oldest one falls off the table. Actually, what it does is it goes back to FAA. The state has to give it back to FAA if it times out at the end of 4 years. So right now, the state of Wisconsin has a number of airports that have built up entitlements. And so they're in the process right now of having these meetings with airports, and they're looking for entitlements that are going to fall off the table. And they've told us they're going to give them to Merrill to help fund our hangar. So right now, as of today, and this is just, there's nothing on paper, there's nothing written. This is from the head person of the budget thing in DOA. As of today, they think they have $800,000 to give the city.
How much?
$800,000.
Is that what we need to use up by September 1st or
So
something?
no, we have to be able to use it by August 1st. See, the money dies in August because it has to go back to FAA.
Okay.
So somebody has to use it. So we need to have $800,000 worth of work in that hangar by
Started.
August 1.
We can pay for it.
We're going to pay to Jeopardy. So the bids, as you know, came in about $300,000 higher than we thought they would. And I believe that happened because the DOA required the contractors to hold their prices for 275 days. So we could literally go out until September, October, and go, hey, Mr. Contractor, we've decided we're going to do that hangar now. 275 days out, he doesn't know what his costs are, not in this environment. Steel could be 30-40% more. So what did they do? Raise the bid price. That's how we got an overrun on the bid, my opinion. But if this deal goes through with the DOA, the 300 would be wiped out, and we'd have something like, it's like 491,000 or something that would go back to the city to put towards the project, so it's a plus for the city. That was the good news of the day. There's a call the 22nd, right, Mark?
Yeah, I think so.
There's a call. I'm probably going to be there to talk about this with the council members. Joe, what do you know about smoke balls?
I have come into some information. We were talking about a pusher blade for the tractor, and a gentleman has one that was used for 1 year, a 12-footer boss plow that's down by MLD, the big one there. He said he would sell it to us for $2,500 because he's sending it to auction, and he thinks that's all he's going to get for it. So he says for $2,500, it's ours.
12-footer, that's not really bigger than the...
It's huge.
So that's the one that's over here in front
Right
of
on the curb.
in front of the old tire shop there.
Yeah.
A 12-foot snow box is not that big.
But that's all our tractor will handle. That's what they said, that's designed for, that size tractor.
Okay, then
That's what I was
Then I'll
told.
back off my objection to that. In my opinion, what I would know, I would think that's, tractor should be able to handle a 20-footer all day long.
That I don't know. I'm not sure what that's.
It's the traction problem because of the
That's the
type
only
of
thing I can
tires
think
you
of.
have on it, that's why.
That would be my concern, is it's gonna get to a certain point and then just spin, because I've done it already.
Okay, well, you
But
know the
yeah,
machine better than I
But
do.
yeah, as far as actual ratings, I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, that would be enough to, at least you could do some light snow plow pushing,
Right.
you know, where if you
Yes.
need the bucket to lift it up and go over,
Yeah,
but,
because we're at 11.6 already on the boss plow we've got now.
right,
Yeah, with the
Yeah,
ratings.
on the red pickup.
on the red pickup.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem you run into is traction.
Yeah.
Well, with the pickup, yes, that,
Yeah.
I would hope that tractor weighs more than a pickup.
It does, but the tires, you know,
Mm-hmm.
are the big thing, you know, your type of tire to push it. So that's why I thought it was a halfway decent deal. I told them we had a
It's not
meeting
that deal
tonight
for what it is, yeah.
for what it is, and only being 1 year old, I thought, you know, because everybody else we were talking to was 5 to 10 grand, you know, or whatever.
That house got to be $6,000 new, isn't it? 6,000-7,000.
6,000-7,000
Most
new.
likely,
Yeah.
I would think. Yeah, they get 6-7 grand for a straight plow for a pickup truck now.
Yeah,
So,
so I thought that was a good deal, and I thought,
They're
you
only
know,
gonna go up.
Yeah.
Chances are.
yeah, I mean, from the standpoint that it had 1 year use on it, I mean, if you look at it, there's hardly any wear on the front end. You know,
I
it's
can't
some,
remember if that had in place on it.
yeah,
We're talking about the one in front of the tire shop over there, yeah,
Right.
it's got box sides on it.
Okay.
so,
I don't-
That's
yeah,
a standard
it's-
3-point hookup
yeah,
on there?
I think it is.
Okay, yeah, that would be the only other
Yeah.
follow-up question is, what is the mount
Mhm.
situation that's on it? How can we
Yeah.
Yeah.
interface it to the
Well, you'd have
tractor?
to
How
go
much
over
is that
and
gonna
look at it to
cost?
see
Yeah.
if it would actually interface, because I think there was a talk that it had to be chained up or something. I don't remember the exact,
I don't know.
Well, there was talk about taking one that can be chained and mounted to the loader
Yeah,
bucket
that I
Right.
remember.
and using that. Now, if this one goes right to the 3-point, then that
Yeah.
would be great. That would be the optimum situation because it keeps it in
I haven't-
closer to the tractor.
I haven't
It's
looked at it, so I'd have to
easier to
check.
deal with. It just won't lift as high, but you're not
Right.
gonna be stacking banks with that. You're just looking to clear big areas with it.
Right.
So in general, are we interested in that pump in general, as a concept of it? Not asking you to vote.
Rich, are we?
Uh,
You're the guy that's gotta do the snow operations
The,
and manage them.
my concern with that tractor was always, would a box be too much for it because of that? Only because I've gotten on a few slippery conditions and I can't move that thing. It just sits there and spins all 4 wheels. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, like with this bigger ramp now, that's where it's gonna come into handy. I don't really see us using it over here. And you would have to take, which is no big deal, it's a quick attach and a PTO on the blower. That's how you'd have to take it off.
How wide is the blower?
I think that's,
Is it 8 or 9 feet?
no, I thought it was 9.
Okay.
I think it's 9.
Is there any real reason why you would need to take the blower off? Why can't you use the blower for ballast on the tractor and keep the weight up on the tractor?
Well, you could, but we usually keep the bucket on for, in the wintertime. Taking that on and off is a chore. So
Okay.
it's so much easier to drop that.
Okay,
It's a lot easier to drop the
all
blower.
right, well, that's a,
So
that's the only reason.
that's a valid
So then what I
reason.
need to do is look at what type of attachment it is to see if it's going to marry up with what we want to do.
Sure.
Is basically what you're looking at, Rich. If
Yeah.
it hooks up to the 3-point, it's something we'd be very interested in. Is what you're saying.
I'm on the fence, I'll be honest with you. I don't really know that.
What, if it's
It
got
would get a lot of
the rubber cutting edges and so on
Yeah.
it, like a snow box usually does, then again, for the light snows that usually go
I-
unworked with, that would work well.
Yeah,
You're not gonna push 8 inches of heavy, wet, slushy
No.
crap
No.
with it.
yeah, I don't know. For the little that we use it, I'm kind of on the fence. I think this is more of a Craig thing. I think he maybe wants it more than I do. 'Cause I,
Because he does most of the plowing
yeah,
and everything.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
So I,
Well,
yeah,
I don't have to give him an answer today.
Sure.
I mean, because it's
I'll talk
nice.
to Craig.
Talk to Craig, have him go look at it, I'll
Sure.
go look at it, and then next month we'll revisit it. All right, that way I can kind of figure out how it's gonna be
You'll
attached.
We'll go through next month for our meeting.
So say-
He's not shipping it until September.
Oh, okay, all right, good.
It's going to auction September, so we've got till August figured to get it.
You guys get your answers and talk to Craig and.
Yeah.
So you talk to
We'll
Craig,
make a
I'll talk to
decision on
Mike.
it then next month, and we can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, Rich and Craig are going to look
Yep.
Yeah.
For the money, it's a good deal.
It is.
If it'll work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you can, if you can use it,
Yeah, that's a
and then
pretty
get,
good price,
it's
I think.
worthwhile having
Otherwise, we
around.
got a really cool $2,500 paperweight.
Right, we don't need it.
at. 84 on you.
I'm working on the contract right now, to see what it's gonna take for us to roll that in. They're making it sound like it's pretty simple. They have, an agreement that, when I say they, the Army engineer group that picks it up, they have a form that they send in saying that they're gonna be taking over. So a new contract's written up and then we're signing. So that's what we're looking into right now, is the contract paperwork that we would be signing it back over to the feds and, that then they would then take ownership of it.
There's no money available.
No, I brought that up again, and he says, as of right now, they have a list of aircraft that they want the money to go towards, and the F-84 is not on the list. They have their favorites is what it comes down to.
What kind of aircraft?
That I don't know. He just told me that the F-84 went on the list. I'm not sure what they're after. But he said that was not one of them.
Probably the newer planes, the F4s and the F-86s.
That's kinda what I'm
and stuff
thinking,
like that
yeah.
are more recognizable.
So, but yeah, as of right now, it's a pretty limited pot. They're doing about one aircraft a year, and they do have a list of aircraft that they've got their eyes set on, that people donate money. And they also have a fund set aside for a particular aircraft. So, but that's where I'm at with
Who's at the airport?
Movies, all right. So far, everything is lining up. I've talked to a couple of people. I'm working on getting some more help up here to do it. I talked to Crazy Fresh over here. Chris donated actually money to them so he could have a movie up here, because being a partnership up here. I talked to Chris about parking because I got a hunch that I probably would run into problems with parking. And he's gonna mow a section of that for us so that we can park cars out there too.
Okay, so you talk to them?
I talked to them, yeah. Yeah, talked to the head guy over there. So he agreed to that. I looked at my layout out there. I've got plenty of room if an airplane wanted to come in and taxi by and get past and then get over to the fuel farm. I mean, I wouldn't even have to block that section off. I could just put a couple cones where the people are, and there's plenty of room. So from a safety standpoint, that would be good. We're looking at bringing out 2 airplanes out here, for demonstration purposes, so people to look at. But everything is lining up. We're getting sponsors for it. The only thing we need, like I said here, would be the porta potties. I just got to change the advertising so they know it's on Champagne Street yet, and then we're getting more flyers on it.
So what kind of promotion might be done?
It's on the chamber website. We're going to get it advertised when it gets closer into the photo news, because they have a community events thing, so that won't cost anything there. And then he's been putting up some flyers around town, and then I was going to put some flyers around at, like community events at maybe some other airports or something.
I think city website?
No, not all the way, just some demo ones, but it'll be on the city website, because he's putting it at the chamber website. So the chamber, and I actually supposed to have a meeting next week with the chamber too, with Dylan and myself for promoting it and everything, for all 3 movies.
That Truckapalooza, make sure you get plenty of flyers out there.
Where's this at?
The Truckapalooza, they're gonna have what they had last year, food trucks at the fairgrounds.
Oh, okay,
On Saturday.
okay,
In second week of May, somewhere in there.
okay, all right.
Just that would be a good spot.
Yep, in May, the food trucks in May, okay.
Where's the screen actually gonna be set up at?
We're gonna kind of bring it out, from the building. I'm probably gonna come down this way and out a little bit, this way,
Yeah.
so that we're kind of away from the taxiway, so they'll have a nice room to taxi, because I've got 50 feet of cord, and then it'll be sitting right kind of on the blacktop, kind of then angling this way toward the fuel farm.
I know that if they break ground for the hangar, I know that that's a staging area right there
Yep,
in the grass for construction stuff.
so I'll be all out here on the ramp.
And I know that they're gonna be inched out a little bit, but then I don't know about that. I haven't heard a date yet. But I'm just saying, my worry is are we gonna be prepared if we're crunched on both ends?
That, we're not gonna go out that far. I mean, I don't think I will even get past the poles for the
Yeah.
fuel farm. My goal is to not interrupt the fuel farm, and, because everybody will kind of sit more up front and fairly close to the screen.
Okay.
Because when we did it down at the park, it was the same thing. Nobody was way back. Everybody was kind of up front and close.
Sure.
So, and I'm figuring if we see 200-300 people, you know, it could be 400, you never know, depending upon the movie and people coming, but it's bring your own chair. Jody's doing some of the food. Her proceeds are going to the Humane Society. Kaler's bringing his popcorn machine. You know, so basically that's where a lot of the proceeds are going. So Geist Meats is also looking at giving us some food vouchers along with some money so that we can use some of his meat for this promotion. So on all the promotions, so it's you know, for all three. And we did get lesson gyms for the first two as a backup for rain inside. They said those 2 dates they had open. So worst case scenario, we could still do it, it just won't be at the airport. But at least it's still the community event. But then we can always try it for the next year.
What's the date again?
That one is August 1st. The first one is,
What time?
well, it opens at 6. The gates I'm gonna open at 6. And then we figure around 8:30, quarter to 9, we'll start the movie, so, and then the movie will run till whenever. July 11th is the one at Normal Park. And then August 15th is the other one at Normal Park.
Isn't it kind of long to sit around from 6 to 8?
Well, a lot of people don't, you'd be surprised, a lot of people come because they had face painting and some of this other stuff. And so we've got fire trucks and the fire truck is coming on the first one, and he's got a commitment from the K9 unit and something else on the third one. So kids can go around, and then usually people come and snack with the food, they get a little supper, they sit down, they relax. The idea here was with the airplane, they can kind of come out and look around. So there's always little activities, and you'd be surprised, people come out so they get their seat, and they sit down and relax, and they have fun, they go get food. They did that last year.
Do you allow them to bring stuff in?
Some people bring stuff in, we don't argue, it's a park, it's a thing. You know, the biggest thing is garbage cans would be the only thing I need out here would be garbage cans. That would be the one thing we'd have to remember. But otherwise, it's all going good. I mean, it's so far it's lining up. We got backup plans. If the only one we don't have a backup plan on is the August 15th, because all the other anything that's big has already been booked.
Okay, we're gonna keep it on the agenda. So, Rich,
Someone can make a porch and some mosquito spray.
Yeah.
if the timing on the hangar goes the way I think it is, first week of June is digging.
For ours?
for the hangar.
Okay.
So by August 1, it should be concrete in and maybe some walls up even if it goes good. But I would suspect that we would want to protect like 40 or 50 feet from the hangar.
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, I can put some cones up and then run some, you know, little stringers or something, because I have some of that caution tape at home. So that's real simple for me to do. I can take even a couple sawhorses and just take some caution tape and we're done. It's not really a hard thing, because I've done it before when we do airport days. Put up some stripping. Just enough, something that keeps the kids from running around out there.
Okay. Thanks, Jim. Rich.
Lightning damages, I talked to Van Ark to see where we're at with getting the sign lighting done, the rail lights. And they had said that they were still waiting on the rail lights. They were looking into that. But otherwise, they're planning in the next week or two to be out here and get going on the sign lights and hopefully start doing wiring and whatnot. So, and they're hoping they have the rail lights by then. So I told them to call me and let me know for sure that they're gonna make it in that time frame. So I'm still waiting to hear back from them.
So can they poke a outside box through the wall there to power?
Yeah, Todd Nino's gonna do that. He's gonna come in and run a 50 amp and a 30 amp tied to their phone breaker in the vault, on the west wall, so on the exterior. We'll put up some waterproof ones. And then as far as the west gate goes, it's kicking their rear end. I said, obviously the lightning's done more damage than just this gate opener circuit board. And the guy comes out about 4 times a week, takes a video, does troubleshoots what they claim or what they tell him to do, sends it back to them. Nobody knows what's going on with this gate. They cannot figure it out. So I said, okay, what happens if we just replace the whole damn unit and get on with it? So they're looking into a few things. The issue that they're having is there's the gate entrance system, which is the electronic board, and then there's, that's LiftMaster. LiftMaster is the gate entrance board. Then there's the gate entrance system, which is the rest of it. Neither one of these companies were really meant for one another. They don't talk to one another, so they're trying to figure out what in the world is going on. Who's got the missing link? Neither one of them know. I know the electrician's getting frustrated. He's getting pretty irritated. I said, look, it's an insurance claim. It's lightning damage. If something's going on, it's broken. It's time to start ground up, in my opinion, get the thing replaced or something. So that's where we're at. I don't know what.
Start replacing parts,
Well, that's what I said. Enough's enough. Let's get going.
I used to run the people who have to run the taxiway to get over
Correct.
their planes here.
Yep. Luckily, it's flying right now. 2 of them are down medically. But still, yeah, there's no entrance over here, so.
Is there flight instruction going on now that the Sundowners fixed?
No,
Is there an intention to have flight instruction or no?
Yeah, the instructor's ready to go. We're waiting on the owner.
Quit waiting on the
The owner, I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, that's where we're at with that. We got
Sundowners.
people- It's ready.
It's fine. It's ready.
It's ready, yeah. We've got people wanting to rent it. We're just waiting on the owner, so we don't know what's going on.
Rich, while we're on the lightning damage, is the AWAS completely fixed now?
Yeah, so I mentioned this once before, but so the AWAS, because there were so many damaged airports, AWAS systems, the state picked that bill up. So there's nothing for us to turn in. We were never given an invoice. The state picked that up. But yes, the AWAS is up and running. Granted, I'm waiting on the display here to get covered, and they do know about it. DBT is aware of it, and they're working on it. It's a part from what I've been told. But, yeah, there's no cost to us on that one.
So the AWAS is new,
Well, parts of it, not the entire
so it
thing.
had parts put in.
We're still on the list to have that whole thing replaced. Well, some of the older parts, they're not replacing everything because that celiometer is new.
I
5 years
noticed
ago.
with here coming out of Maryland, we had some of the lower, rainy visibility days and recently. But
Yeah,
not only on our report, but ours was one of them with maybe 3 that I saw in the area. And when it came to, the ceiling report, it said, ceiling not a part of not a portion of this report.
really,
And there was nothing in there. When you were gone the 10 days,
Yeah.
that happened twice.
really.
And now it's happened again. It happened when it goes down low. Sometimes, have you seen that? Watch for that. It said something like, ceiling not a portion of this report.
Well, and I know that thing will, so we
And
go
I don't know
out,
why it's doing that. Not only ours, but there's others that are doing that too.
well, we go out and clean, this is what I'm assuming it is, but I don't know for sure. That glass panel on there has to be cleaned. We go out and clean it about once a week.
Mhm.
Birds perch up there, if they do their duty on the glass, you could get a missed report, or an erroneous one. So say it's a heavy dew morning, or
Mhm.
just rain, that'll sit on there, and it might be a deal where it doesn't kick out a reading because it's not getting one.
Well,
So,
if I see it again, I'll just
Yeah, I
text you,
know.
and you can go check. See if we can determine why it's doing
yeah,
that.
because that's usually, I'll go out there, you open the door,
Yeah.
you wipe the glass off.
And the others I know, like, Langley and Taylor and
That's why I'm wondering if it's
Rounder,
not the same thing.
Theirs are okay, but we're kind of repeatedly
Yeah.
off and on doing that.
That could be what it is.
Ceiling are not a portion of this report.
Great.
And I thought, never saw that message before.
Crazy thought for you. What about putting like some Rain-X on it?
I'd have to ask, because I don't know how that, if it would affect anything, I don't know. It may or may not.
You know, it would help for like the heavy dew
Right.
situation or rain situation.
Yeah.
It would actually even make bird poop kind of, it won't push it
Yeah,
off, but it'll make it
make-
ball up
yeah.
instead of going, it'll,
Yeah.
you know, kind of
Yeah.
hold together a little
I
bit.
just
I'll
don't know
ask
what's
the guy.
causing that, you know.
Yeah.
You never used to see that if a coeliometer was out,
Sure.
you could tell there was no visibility
Yeah.
report, you know. But
No, it's just-
this is a strange thing I've seen recently on the reports.
I'll ask him.
Just thinking if you
So
go
to-
clean it once a week or something, clean it with the Rain-X spray and,
Sure.
you know, keep a wax on it, so to speak.
Yeah,
If that doesn't, you know, it doesn't
sure.
damage what it's trying to do.
Put some bird spikes on top.
Yeah,
That works on the buildings and stuff.
Yeah, it does.
Used to do it, they used to mess up the patio out there and the picnic table and that all stops and then you put those
Two
on.
little plastic owls.
So the bottom line is, we still want to be on the list for a brand new ambulance.
Correct, and Merrill's on the list. I did ask, and I said, yeah, Merrill, I forget, is that 8 airports for the first go?
As soon as we-
Or one of 8?
As soon as when they tell us we're available, we can provide eligibility and justification and when the Nelson forecast and they'll be out there. Otherwise, we just can't give it to you.
Was the credit card reader replaced?
On here, on the, no, well, that was new with the new unit. So, oh, you know, with the M4000, that's the current reader.
So it wasn't damaged in the lightning strike?
No, what, as far as the fuel system was concerned, it was the fuel monitor that's in the vault.
Okay.
That was that 16,000 change, yeah. So,
So
but
that's all
that was
looking
fine.
good,
Yeah, yeah. Deer ramps, I talked to Dustin, and they are gonna get out here some point in the near future. They're pretty busy right now, but they're gonna come out here and use our own dirt, get some deer ramps put in. Should be pretty simple. The trees growing through the fence. I gotta make some calls to see who's gonna be willing to do it. Dustin said their guys could probably do it during downtime, like when they come in and do the whole grass cutting during the winter months. But other than that, it's gonna be a matter of us paying to have some of the trees and fence.
I'd like to understand what a deer ramp looks like when it's done.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find a picture of one for you. They're simple. They're nothing to them.
Look it up on my
It's a,
phone.
I don't have my phone yet.
They have miles on my
It's all
phone.
with dirt.
How far is the fence from the top of the hill?
Typically, they're about 4 feet away from the top of the fence, so 4 feet below the fence. And then it comes out, some are pretty big and wide, some are 8 feet, 6 feet wide.
So how far away is it from the fence?
Oh, it's typically around 4 feet away from the fence as well.
The dirt has to be plowed, you know, at an angle for it to
Yeah,
stay.
usually they'll put up barricades, some do, some don't, and then they'll plant grass to keep it held there. But it's literally just something for them to walk up enough to jump over. I've seen them in a lot of different airports
Yeah, there's a
and
lot of
facilities.
dirt around, so I mean,
Yeah.
not, you don't see them here, you see them more out west.
Out west, yeah. Nothing's happened on the pass-through door yet. We're ordering it, but I don't know whatever happened with that. With Teddy and Mike for the changing the door out, so. And then the flagpole, I did find out that, so between 18 and 2,500 is the going rates for various flagpoles, all 20 foot, and that comes with a 5-foot sleeve that goes into the ground. Comes with the flagpole. It's part of that price. It gets concreted in. So, and then as far as the concrete goes, the city garage said they would just come around.
And you're just working on the one here by this building?
Correct.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you planning to do? Anything with the one at the house?
No, I was gonna. If it was up to me, I just want to put one up over here
Oh, no.
instead of two. I mean, we can.
We have no light on that one either working. do we?
No.
But we could light it. If you
Yeah.
plan on keeping it there,
Yeah.
or you could remove it there and just have the one here.
Yeah, that was kind of what I thought.
When it came to light when we were gonna lower them to half mast in the winter and we couldn't.
I couldn't get the thing down,
Frozen
yeah.
and we couldn't get it down.
Yep.
But it's also not lit, which is another issue.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
either we should be thinking 2 of them or maybe one and get rid of one. I mean, we were happy to do the 2 originally, but they've served their purpose for 10, 12 years, 15 years. So.
If you were to go with that one, this one we could hardwire in off of this light pole.
Mhm.
And the electrical over there passes underneath the ground in the yard to that other flagpole, or I'm sorry, to that other light pole and the beacon.
Mhm.
So you could potentially hardwire both of them if you were going to.
But you need, if you keep that one, for the time being at least, you still need another
I'd still
light.
get another light, I can get another.
Yeah. I've seen it
Similar
like that,
light.
and you can, those are like 2 or 3, and the fixture, they clamp on the pole, and you can put them as high or as low as you wish.
Correct, yeah.
And get them out of the way, and then up there, and then they're
Yeah.
done. They're automatic after that, and they're hardwired, and they're in, and then you're done. And they seem to run between 300 and 600 for the units. so.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'd rather hardwire the light in. You don't have
Yeah.
AC.
Because if we keep it, fine. If we can't get it down at half mast, okay.
Sure.
But we should be thinking about lighting if we're gonna keep it over there by the house. At that time, it was there by the house because the jet was over there, so
Sure.
it was kind of a natural thing to have over there. It's a requirement, it was not a requirement to have one over there.
Mark, the city bought the armory, right?
Yep.
Wasn't there some flagpoles down there?
No, there was one in front of the building.
At least one, no, 3. There's Army flag and American flag and a Wisconsin flag. I thought it was out front there.
Let's find out what's gonna happen.
That's a good thought.
Yeah, I'll do
So,
that.
Good
Maybe
idea.
there's even some lights over there. Take the
Yeah,
whole-
well, yeah, because they had light.
Just go over with the scoop
Yeah,
on
'cause
the
they have
tractor,
lights,
scoop the whole
yeah.
thing with the concrete and everything. Go
Just
over here,
drive it
put
right
it
over here, yeah.
Put it in.
Put it in a snowplow box and bring it over.
Get one of them guys with the tree spade thing.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
take the whole flagpole and the dirt and everything.
Did we come up with a tractor tire?
No, Craig was doing that. I'm not sure where he's at with it. I thought he spoke to the city about going with the new route like we had talked about. Pretty sure he did. I'll find out.
All right, Chairman report, master plan and talked about Sound Hole with FAA. The economic impact study, absolutely nobody says anything about the economic impact study. It was not discussed at all, so I don't know. The last word I had was with Angela Adams and the DOT investment group, and she said that they were thinking about bringing them into the DOT and doing them themselves. If they do that, they'll probably never happen, so. I don't know what's gonna happen. I haven't done anything to fuel the P&L total number I ever made from the city on garage maintenance. This was Rich's garage over there. He knows, we talked about putting shingles on and siding to match the house. And there was a $6,000
Credit.
credit, if you want, from the project that we did by the T-hangers. There's a little argument now going on about whether that's old or not. Someone thinks it's not old, and someone thinks it is old, so we're at the moment, it's not in my hands. But I just wanted you to know that that 6,000 is still in play. And then we have the, what was it, 14,000 for the truck?
Yeah.
So that money's on hold with the city someplace, so we might have $20,000 floating around for little projects and stuff.
It'd be nice to do it, but, you know, pretty uniform. It's perfectly functional until we can do it.
All right, Gary, you have any?
I really, there's so much happening, and it changes so often. I'm not gonna do much tonight, but we've had a lot of airplanes going down. But there doesn't seem to be any one thing. We have pilot error and the turboprop that went in at a no-count approach. Mitsubishi MU2. We've got potential mechanical things happening. The Boca Raton Twin 310, what was going on with that? We don't know. I mean, it could have been a control lock on the airplane. So there's no one thing you can put your finger on. Maintenance, pilot error, and I don't know. But I think that's probably a good thing that it's no one thing that you say, this is causing all of this. So when people say we're having too many airplanes go down, and that's this for this reason or that, it's not. It's a variety of things going on. I had mentioned it last month, and I'm watching it like everybody is. But I don't see a pattern emerging, the helicopter issue in New York, and just a lot of different things.
I saw that they did find the transmission and rotor head on it.
Yes.
Which pretty much eliminated the idea of the speculation floating around that it was rotor slap. That pretty much eliminated that. So the entire transmission and power plant and the top honeycomb cap of the fuselage of the helicopter was all intact there. So it peeled the whole thing off. There was some speculation that I don't want to steal from some
No, go ahead,
discussions
go ahead.
there, but there was some speculation that I had heard that might fit into that there was some sort of failure in the transmission itself that caused a fuel, fragments went through the fuel tank because the pilot apparently had called in and said that they were Scotch fuel when they were going down, and they were going to have to set it down, and then all of a sudden the aircraft came apart. So did something catastrophic happen in the transmission that caused the fuel tank to then lose all their fuel, and then the transmission seized up and twisted the whole top of the helicopter off?
And Rich had, and there's other theories on that. Rich has one.
I was speaking to Josh Smith last night, who's helicopter AMPIA, and he said that particular model, I don't know which one it is, I don't follow helicopters.
206, go.
He said that one has notorious tail rotor ADs. He goes, and it's an issue with the mounting hardware and the bolts. He goes, if you touch them, if you loosen them, it's an instant replace because they do corrode, they break. Because I had mentioned the rotor coming undone, like you had said, and he goes, I think that was an afterthought. He goes, when the pilot had called in a fuel issue, he goes, I think that was them. He was alerting base, hey, I'm coming back, without scaring the occupants. Hey, I'm coming back, there's something wrong. He goes, that was what I took that up, that was code to me. He said, but, he goes, I think the rotor was an afterthought, or an aftermath of the tail rotor breaking off because of that AD. He said, once that goes, that's all gonna lift, because it left as a hole.
Yeah, it took the
He
whole
goes-
top of the,
he goes,
there was something about a honeycomb,
Yep.
a honeycomb base plate or whatever,
Yeah.
the top of the fuselage, the base of.
He said, that's an aftermath. You lose that, that's what's going next. And he goes, and it's gonna go as a complete unit. So, I don't know, it's all speculation.
Yeah.
I may tell more. It's
Sure.
hard to say.
Sure.
As I said, there's been so many different things. That may be,
Yeah,
an AD or a maintenance issue, or it may not.
sure.
The Chieftain that went in the Southwest, that was a fuel issue. 5 hours of surveying work. We ran it out of fuel and put it down on the interstate. Well, that's a pilot. There's all different things happening. The airlines seem to be flaming a lot of engines that are swallowing rabbits for whatever reason.
saw that one.
That one was really, a rabbit took you out? I was on takeoff, a rabbit jumped in there or was in there on the ramp and you went through it's pretty hard to, but there have been a lot of pictures of engines shooting out fire lately on returns. It is quite amazing. Yeah, when you think of a 737, with 195 people, and one of those engines will handle that so well with the loss of the other one. And since the 747, we really haven't had in the commercial area 4-engine transports, commercial transports. They've all gone to 2 engines or 2 big engines, but it still amazes me how well one of those engines can handle all of that
It still
and
amazes
bring
me
that
how
airplane
well
back safely.
one of those engines can swallow debris and still keep running.
Yeah, and just spit out fire. They're still getting some power out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not.
That might not be happy about things, but it's still running.
As long as it's just puffing fire and they're not, it isn't going into the wing structure or something, they can keep drawing some power out of it. But it's not. So there's an awful lot of stuff going on.
That's
I had today a Cherokee 6300 come in. He wanted to show me his new paint job and his new panel. Somebody that I take after the plane. It's been in Florida for a year now, and it was sitting on the ramp. And he said, hey, you need to get me new seals for the tanks. He goes, because when it sits on the ramp, I'm getting water in it. He goes, oh, by the way, he goes, your flap behind the seat to drain fuel underneath the belly,
Oh,
the one on the co-pilot seat.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm not draining fuel. I'm thinking, you took off and it's not draining fuel. I said, you got water in the system. I said, well, hold on, I'll crawl under there. It's probably a mud dauber. I said, you said it's been sitting out on the ramp. Sure enough, it's a mud dauber. I said, drain your fuel for me. Water, water, water. I said, you took off from Florida all the way up here.
Holy cow.
looking into that? He goes, it's water. I said, I'm telling you right now, it's water. Keep
That's a
dumping."
low point and that's a
He
must.
dumped probably 2 cups of water. He goes, oh, well, that would explain that. Because thinking, why don't you take off if you know?
That's why I was burping on us coming up now and then.
Exactly. And I thought,
Oh, but see, this is what I mean, we had a Canadian family come down in a Lance, and they all got killed in Tennessee, they went down. It's a combination of that sloppy piloting, but it's also a maintenance issue, you know. So all these things are playing into things, and I still have the feeling that we're very short of maintenance people,
Oh, yeah.
and they're just putting some airplanes out and not doing very thorough
Sure.
and complete work on them, because they just are swamped like you are. Can't take an airplane till July,
Yeah.
you know, and we're getting airplanes out there with that aren't having good, complete, detailed maintenance, and it's leading to issues. I think we're gonna see more of that. I'm really watching for that, but we're seeing all sorts of things across the board. You know, and then we're having some piloting errors. The 180 was a tough deal. That
Public comment,
things happen.
yeah.
call for adjournment. Agenda items for next month. Anything?
Agenda items, anything? We'll just follow up. I think everything that's on here, I don't think of anything else.
Everything pretty well.
Call for
I'll
adjournment.
move to adjourn.
Second. Okay, you can have it.
Okay.
Motion and second to adjourn.
It's always fun to do seconds on adjournment.
Aye.